there, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to another episode of Straight to Streaming, and it's been a while since I've done one of these. About a month or so, and I wanted to get back into these. I'm hoping to do these every week, but I might have to change the schedule up to be every other week, depending on what I can do. We'll have to see. Without further ado, I want to go straight into the movie Scoop. So Scoop is the new Netflix movie. It follows this woman named Sam McAllister, played by Billie Piper, and pretty much how she was instrumental in getting the interview with Prince Andrew about the his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and that entire situation. That interview played on BBC back in 2019, and yeah, it was a huge deal. So it's about her, how she got that interview, and kind of about the interview as a whole, and how it kind of came together. I was kind of intrigued to see what they were going to do with this story. Obviously, the interview is readily available on YouTube and other sources. It's not an interview you can't find if you want to find it. So they would have to do more than just show the interview again. And I was kind of interested to see how they got the interview, and then I was hoping we would also get a little bit more about the background of how they kind of came up with the entire idea of how they would approach the interview. That second, part they didn't delve into as deeply as I wanted them to. But to my surprise, the biggest part of this movie was the interview itself, and I wasn't expecting it to be that, because again, you can find this interview. You don't have to watch this movie to watch that interview if you want to watch that interview. But it's a huge set piece in this movie, and that I felt like was a risk, and I do feel like it pays off, as the tension during that interview, you could cut it like with a knife. It's absolutely insane what they managed to do to bring that type of tension into a situation where we already know what happens. And I feel like that has to do with the pacing and the build-up to the interview as a whole. We're interested to see how all these pieces fall in together, and you just want to see how the interview is going to play out, even though you really should know if you know anything about what current events and current history. But I still found myself intrigued. I will say, again, I wish it went more into the development of how they came up with the approach that they were going to go into. The characters, this film has a difficult line to walk. All these characters are real people who are still alive, and therefore you have to approach them like you would any other person. Make sure that you can feel like they're their real-world counterparts. And I do feel like for the most part they succeeded, though I feel like they did characterize Sam McAllister as just someone, like a woman, another woman in the workplace struggling to find her voice. I feel like that was a little unnecessary at times, but I can see why they went down that road. I feel like if they just focused more on her, her road to getting the interview, I feel like that would have been fine. We didn't need this struggling in the workplace backstory, and it kind of made the character feel a little superfluous at times. That being said, Billie Piper is amazing in the role, and everyone's does a great job. Gillian Anderson plays the reporter who does the interview, and she is also spectacular in the role. But I'll be honest, the standout for me is Rufus Sewell as Prince Andrew. He blows it out of the water here. And I really feel like his performance nailed the character and the person that they were trying to portray on screen. And I really felt his performance really stood out. And that's not me saying that the other performances were bad. Everyone does a fantastic job here. He just stood out in my opinion. Visually, the film's not a lot to talk about. The makeup work on Gillian Anderson and Rufus Sewell to make them look like their real-world counterparts is quite good. And I do think it is relatively successful. As a whole, the film looks okay. I have no notes on the cinematography. It was perfectly fine. There's no visual stylization to this film whatsoever, but that's to be expected for something where you have to hold a lot of respect for what's going on. And then you have the music, and the music's standard stuff for a film like this. There's nothing here to really talk about when we're talking about the score. Overall, this movie was pretty good. It is about recent events, so a lot of people are going to know the outcome of this film before the film even starts. It's just has to focus on keeping the audience interested for its entire runtime, even though they don't know what's going to happen. And I feel like this film is successful to that degree, though again, I wish we had a little bit more background leading up to the interview and them focusing more on basically them planning out the interview and their approach. I really would have liked a little bit more there, but what we got is fine. I did enjoy this film overall. I'm going to give Scoop a 6 out of 10, and I do recommend checking it out. If you have a few hours to check out this film, and if you're interested to see how this interview came about, definitely check it out. I definitely think it's worth a watch. Anyway, that's my opinion on Scoop. What do you think about it if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.